Sankalpa has given the request, but I didn't see the request of June.
I think before we stopped the previous live, it said that she couldn't rejoin the live from her end.
Oh.
I
Lots of
I don't get technology. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the best we can do today.
June and Sakshi, I'm just saying, are such an energetic duo, and you would have such a fun conversation with them. We should do this some other time as well, and make sure the connection is great, so that they can be a part of it. I think everybody would really love to have them on board.
Sure, you are already invited for Research College Day. I've already asked Sakshi to join. It's from April 2 to 4, so I think she's planning for a project showcase or something. So you guys can plan it together and let's have fun.
Amazing. I'm definitely on board.
Sure. Yeah, so now Sankalpa, I think you can restart your questions. You had a few other questions, right?
Oh, okay. So let's do a round of let's all share a story or like a shared anecdote about a gender stereotype that we faced as a woman in STEM and how we overcame or dealt with it.
Okay, who wants to go first? Okay, that makes sense. I can go first. I think I've been privileged enough to not have any direct stereotype, targeted towards me. And I've never been told that I couldn't go into tech. So I have the privilege of, having very supportive parents, a very supportive group of friends. So also I'm very stubborn. So it's not like even if somebody asked me to stop, I'd stop. So no worries are there. But I think something that I've noticed is very unconscious. It's just a form of bias that you don't really notice, is that in India, based on my personal experiences, what I've seen is that everybody is encouraged to take computer science. You're a boy, you're a girl, you're non-binary, whoever you are, you have to take computer science. So I think the difference comes down when you get to the classroom level. And what I've seen is that girls are often encouraged to do well in their exams and to get 100 on 100 and to get into the top universities. Boys are encouraged to do the same, but they're also, pushed to go to hackathons, attend fairs, try things in the robotics lab, make sure they get the practical applications of it down. And I think that's such an unconscious bias because nobody is actively telling girls, don't do this. But it's just that they're never encouraged to do it. Funny story. It's not that funny, but I remember I went to my school's robotics lab. I believe it was called ATL. And they were doing great work. One of my good friends it's like a big part of that lab. He was doing great work. But when I went in, I had to give a speech. And I saw that in a room of 30 boys, there was one girl. Nobody actively stopped girls from walking into the room. It's just that girls didn't go into the room because they were not encouraged to pursue it. Nobody told them, hey, it's an opportunity you can try. Boys were told that. Boys are being told that from a very young age. When you give them maybe like Lego to build, and girls are given Barbies. Is that what they're still giving girls? I'm not in tune with the youth of today. But I feel like it starts from a very young age, and which is why organizations like WiTech are important. Because while we know that nobody is actively stopping people in countries like India, nobody is actively encouraging. And if you actually want the playing field to be even, you need to do something to make sure that an underrepresented community is being encouraged to take up a certain activity. So I think that was something that I've seen. Girls are good in school and they're only good in school. Boys can play sports and they can go for their robotics lab and A school. That's on them. But girls should stick to the four walls of a classroom.
Yeah, so I have one point. It could be a contrasting point, but finally, I think it's all a part of this whirlpool. So what is your take on women inhibiting women? Like, have you come across situations in which you face obstacles because of women who are ahead of you?
Oh, no, I think I've been lucky enough where people I've reached out to as mentors, and I have some really cool mentors. They've always encouraged me to take up something because they know how hard it is to get there. So if they can make it easy, like a little bit easy for me to get there, they're happy with it. So luckily, the women in power that I have come across have been very helpful. I can't say the same for, girls like me who are my age and we talk to on a regular basis, because I feel like at some point we think it's a competition. We think there are only two seats at the table for us. So it's either you or me, buddy. Okay. There's no way both of us can sit there. And I think something I've come to realize now when I'm 18 and I'm technically an adult is that you don't have to settle for two seats at the table. You can create your own table. You can lift each other up instead of saying, oh, she's smart like me. She likes the same subjects that I do. So she's my competition. So I have to beat her at everything because there is only one spot. You create another spot, raise your voice. So I think luckily, when it comes to women in power, women who are already where I want to be, I haven't faced any kind of resistance, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful every day to trailblazing women right now in the industry.
Yeah, same. I really just echo that. I've been totally privileged. We hear the stories in like the industry about, having like a stereotypical female boss for you and how you'll be held to a higher standards. But I've been absolutely like with both my peers, my seniors, my mentors, So as someone who's been in like engineering and as someone who's gone for some of these preparatory classes, we've always been like the minority in the class. One of the 2, 3 girls selected to do some things, and we've always been a sense of constant support, and there's always been like solidarity and the fact that if we work together, we learn more. And something that really has a broader comment that I find interesting is how in smaller groups, people tend to get so competitive that they lose sense of perspective that your competition is out there in the world, and like what you achieve by competing within your friends, your group, your class, when all of you could be learning together to like go farther. Responding to what Anita was saying earlier, I think your perspective is completely understandable, but it's also very urban centric. And I think that a lot of, women in a rural area, which is a large fraction of India, and then from a lot of families that are still more conservative, are still fighting very hard for their right to educate themselves. They're still fighting for the chance to, write their 10th standard exam, the 12th standard exam, the right to get professional education. And, for a lot of these families, they still off from the mindset that like having a giving your daughter education is like watering your neighbor's lawns. Anyway, she's gonna get married and go off. And it's important that you feel that some of these things are already being overcome. And I come from a similar privileged background. So, in that sense, when it comes to stereotypes, I have a small story to share. And this is about my school. So, my school, I studied here in Chennai. And it tried to come off and brand itself as a, modern school. But at heart, we were pretty conservative. It was a very conservative brand school. And the teachers there, in their whole idea of modernity, would select the best students to go for many of these academic-related conferences and competitions. So, as a school student in high school, there were all of these events that were happening across the city in like IMSs, a couple of colleges. They would select students to go, but it would always be like 11 guys and me. Sometimes 12 guys and 2 girls, me and someone else. And we grown up in a family that didn't take this seriously, so I never took it seriously. You know, it was like a bit of a joke in my head. Like, okay, this in the world, and I will have to live among them, and I will have to get over it. But it is what it is.
Before we move on, I think that was a very good point. Thank you for like giving my privilege in check. I think I should have iterated. It is like a very urban-centric point of view. Like I said, I come from a very privileged background, not just in terms of the kind of opportunities I've been given, but also in terms of the support I've had from my family and from my friends. So I do agree that it is education in India, girls' education in India is still a very big issue that has to be tackled. And it's also something I've come to realize very recently. So I started working at another NGO as well called Gem Powered. And we're currently working with this school in Jharkhand, India. And Jharkhand is like a 3-hour train ride away, I want to estimate. And I got an opportunity to sit down with the graduating class of the girls. I spoke to them. Firstly, there are 9 girls in that school. 9 girls in the graduating class. And I talked to them and their experiences and what they had to do to get their basic education. Like they actually learned football and they teach football. They go to tournaments so that they can earn that money that will go towards their education. So I think it's times like that when you realize I have it very lucky. Like, sure, people should still be encouraging girls to go into a robotics lab, but I have a robotics lab. And that in itself is like a big deal. So I definitely thank you so much for pointing that out. I think it's very important to look at this issue in one country from different culture specific, social class specific lens, because that is still a very big problem. Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, but I just remember this movie Children of Men. I'm not sure if you have seen this movie. So it is like a scenario in which there are only men in this world and there is only one woman left. Okay, so she's pregnant and she's the only person who can control this world and so on. And there will be a very a profitable demand around her and people will try to buy her. So is it like a good way to think when there are less women, will their demand increase among men? Not in this context, but I'm just talking in a skill set. If there are 10 members in a team and there is only like 1 or 2 women, do you think their demand among men will increase? Or does it exist like that? So I'm asking, do you feel highly appreciated by other men if you are like the only girl or like only 2 girls in the class? So I have always received that attention from like other peers. If you are the only girl or you have only like 2 friends, you usually get some that kind of theses from others. So what is your take on that?
I feel like there are 2 sides to this picture where, there are typically 2 things that happen. So there are one set of women who have experience where they feel like super lonely and left out, because it's only guys. And they feel so other, they feel so different that they're like, oh, I have to try to fit in, I have to like change myself, the way I talk, the way I dress maybe. Like, I don't think I'm too feminine because I won't fit in. And this is obviously problematic because we feel like we have to compromise on our identity just to be in a space, to inhabit a space that we have the right to. And the other perspective is what you were hinting at, where, because you're like one of the 2 women, you're already sort of exotic. Like you're hyper visible in that classroom. It's like, if you do something, you're going to be the benchmark for all girls. Like, if you're the only girl in that class, then it'll be like, oh, if you do well and you're like at the top of the class, it'll be like, oh wow, girls are smart. But at the end, like, you fail and you're like, oh, girls are stupid. And like, it feels like you suddenly have so much responsibility to act as some spokesperson because you can't just be you individual. You're somehow you, the collective women in that class. teams and networks only benefits from having more points of view and more different points of view. And I think even if the men don't see it immediately, or if like some genders don't see it immediately, they will come to appreciate all of these different points of view when they see how it actually contributes, changes sort of dialogues that happen, changes the vision of the organization, of the classroom, of the sort of questions that are asked, the sort of initiatives that are taken, and so on.
I definitely agree with that. And I think, sorry, it took me a few seconds to process the question because I was still thinking, in which direction would that movie go, you know? But I think, firstly, would I personally feel like my demand was more if I was one of the only few women in a group full of men? Probably not, because I think it's been a while since I stopped seeking validation from people, much less men. I don't like to be put up on this pedestal for being a woman or for being a part of this group. I think whether whether my demand would increase in terms of whether people would pay attention to my ideas. I feel like it could, again, like you said, go any of two ways. Sometimes when you're like a part of a minority in a conversation, some people like to take your opinions into account, as they should, and maybe you can really feel like your voice is heard in that conversation. Maybe there would be other times when, because you're like one of the only women, it's easier to shut your ideas out so that they can work with the collective. But I think either way, we shouldn't be aiming for a world where there are less seats on the table, like I was saying. Because while, yes, we are encouraging women in tech, and yes, being a woman is a very important part of our identity. Again, happy International Women's Day. I think it's very important to note that we all have very distinct personalities and very diverse opinions. Like, just in this conversation, I was able to give an anecdote which you could immediately correct, saying, that's not the experience of these women there. So it's understanding that although it is a part of our identity, it is not our entire identity. So if I was at the table and I was giving my opinions, having another woman on the table, like in the room with me, would always be more helpful, because yes, she's a woman, but she's also a person with ideas, and you can never run out of, you can never have enough ideas. I think that's what I try telling people. Get people from different backgrounds, get many people from different backgrounds. Do not discriminate. It's very easy to not discriminate. It's not that hard. And listen to their ideas. Because one person is never going to be the spokesperson of all women. I am not the spokesperson of WiTech. I am not the spokesperson for Hyderabadi women, although I would love to be. We are amazing. We have to understand that we all have very, very, there's a lot of diversity in thought, and you should never curb that because of an identity.
Before I want anything, I just want pockets in my dresses. So I feel very convenient if there is no pocket. Of course, like there are very like a rare collection in my wardrobe, like with pocket dresses. So I prefer them. I wear them so repetitively in a week. So yeah, it's the first thing I want probably.
I've heard that from a lot of women, including myself. So yeah, I agree. Sometimes I just steal my dad's jeans, because who's going to say? Nobody's going to stop me on the street and they're like, "That's men's. How are you wearing men's pants?" So I like wearing clothes.
I have a really funny anecdote to share there. So when I was around 12 years old, that very exact comment was directed at me. One of my classmates, I was, at home, like, we were in like an apartment complex, and I was wearing these shorts, those shorts that come to your knees and have like a lot of pockets and a lot of space. So wearing men's shorts, boys' shorts, why?
It's clothes. Like, come on. Like, Harry Styles proved it, and a lot of other men before him have also proved this. Clothes are clothes. So wear whatever you want to wear. I respect you, and I will support you.
Yeah. So yeah, and this one another thing which I want to ask about is like when having like more guys and just one or two girls. I've seen like many of them have this tomboyish characters, like they behave more like boy itself. Yeah, that's why I'm coming there. So what makes you to be like this kind of tomboyish girl?
I think a lot of us have gone through the phase where we despise anything that is feminine. So I had a phase where I hated pink, I hated wearing skirts, I hated dresses. Um, so I think it takes a while for you to just put out those sexist stereotypes or any kind of internalized misogyny that you have. Just like gender doesn't exist. It's okay, like whatever color you like, wear whatever clothes you want to wear. But I think for me, especially having this hair for as long as I can remember, I've never had long hair. Um, it's always been something that has been sort of a matter of convenience rather than conformity. I've always had short hair because it's so much more easier to deal with in the summer. I don't have to put braids for like to get the 6 a.m. bus. I don't have to oil my hair. I just like put the oil in the shower, go take a shower, get out. So I think this has just been because it's very comfortable for me. And I do dress. I think I don't have a lot of skirts and dresses, which I wish I did. I really wish I did. I should go like shopping later after the corona thing is done and it's safe to go out. But I think it's just this something that's comfortable for me. But I do understand that a lot of women feel like they have to be a man to, have their opinion valued. So you will have a lot of people who cut their hair short or wear different dresses or, act more like, traditionally masculine men would. But I think it's just because we haven't given them a chance to understand that if you're feminine, that's okay. Because anything that we associate with feminine, we don't really listen to their opinions or take it seriously. Pink is not taken seriously for some reason. It's such a small thing. I'm sure half the people listening to this don't even think that. But it's still a very important part for like young girls who are growing up. They feel like if they are feminine, that means they won't be listened to. So what I feel is important for us to do, especially as women in tech and men, everybody, all genders, listen up. Please make sure you don't associate a person's worth or a person's opinion, the value of their opinions, to if they dress masculine, if they're like more masculine or feminine, or what colors they like, or how they stand and how they act. It should be tied to your ideas and what you can bring to the group. I think it's very sad to see that people want to be more masculine, traditionally masculine, in order to just be taken seriously. So I think we should be giving women voice, however you like to dress, no matter how short your hair is, no matter how many pimples you have on your forehead, like I do. Say hi, guys. Be open to listening to everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, adding on to what you're saying, sometimes you're classified as tomboyish just if you act in a way that's perceived as masculine. If you're like aggressive, if you're confident, if you can put your thoughts out there, and if you say what you're thinking, and you're brash, and if you can like things like play sports, maybe, it's automatically like, oh, boy. And it's not always related to your appearance. It's also related to your personality. And this happens not only with like women and like that sort of identity, but it happens to a lot of other genders. Like there was this friend who was telling me about how when he was in college and his wardrobe had mostly pink shirts. And when he came to college and he was wearing pink shirts so often, all of his friends were like, "Huh, why is your wardrobe so pink? Like, do you want so many pink shirts? Like, okay, bro."
I think
These are
that's a
problematic statements, and definitely your expression of your identity is so personal that I don't feel like why society always, needs to have its point of view. And this society's point of view is always echoed by so many you think you're doing this or you are acting this particular way. It's essentially society is saying you can't act this way.
Yeah,
I
think,
definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
I think in this dressing, I think we have enough freedom, right? We can wear what a boy wears or girl wears. But I'm just imagining what if a boy, when it wanted to wear a skirt, if in case, and if they wanted to do, will they have the freedom or courage to probably try it? That's a very big question, actually.
Exactly. I think that was exactly what I was going to say. I feel like we have to understand that some sexist ideas we have also, are directed towards men. But what is very surprising is, firstly, if there are any men on this call watching this later, wear whatever you want to wear. Take it from a very sleep-deprived teenager in a black t-shirt who has no idea what she's saying. You can wear what you want to wear. Exactly. I think it's okay. I think I've seen that a lot of men are often criticized for wearing makeup, wearing skirts, wearing dresses, acting feminine, all things that we would expect a woman to do. And if I go out wearing jeans, nobody's going to say anything, If right now nobody's saying, "Hey Natasha, why are you wearing a boy's shirt?" Because it's a shirt. It's just a shirt, isn't it? I feel like it's important to understand that. Sorry, I just looked at a comment and I just cringed. I was like, "This is 2021. What are you typing in the comment section?" Sorry, my bad. But I think that's a very good point. In fact, that it's been brought up. Whenever men dress up dress up, skirts, makeup, and outfits, I feel like they're often criticized. Firstly, for doing it, they're called things like gay, which is firstly, wake up. Gay is not an insult; it's a sexual orientation. If you don't get it, go do your research. Come back to the call. Stop. It's 2021, man. Are you still going to discriminate based on your sexual orientation? But also, you have to understand that whenever men do traditionally feminine things, they are told that it's wrong and you shouldn't do it. But when we wear shirts and pants, more often than not, it's cool. You can dress up. So I feel like you have to understand that dressing feminine, whoever you are, you can dress the way you want to dress. Go into an industry that you want to go into. You shouldn't be pressured to get into sports or tech just because you're a dude. And so you have to get into these. You want to get into the fashion industry, kill it on stage. Kill it as a model. You want to get into traditionally, female dominated industries like nursing or teaching, do it. No, you have to stop associating gender to things like clothing, okay, or way of life or occupation,
I hear you. And segueing back to our major theme of technology, something that I've seen somehow when we started setting up Black and something that still faced when WiTech was coming up and in your role as coordinator is that there are also women who sort of see women-run, women-led initiatives as an otherization of women, in the sense that suddenly there are initiatives for everybody, and then there are things for women, and they're like, oh, why are we putting ourselves into this box? And some of them feel uncomfortable about it, and then like, does this really make sense? Are we somehow, not competing at like some global, full pool, and are we putting ourselves and calling ourselves other? Are we somehow, making like there's something for everybody and then there's something for women? And obviously, I find this very problematic. And I want your thoughts on how you deal with these conflicts and how you, promote these women-run, women-led forums.
Oh, that's a beautiful question. Thank you so much for it. I think on a weekly basis, I will either come across a comment or I come across like a part of conversation that's directed towards me, saying, why is two things. Firstly, why is your organization only for women? Okay, why are you only taking in women? And like, we're not only taking in women. We have men in our organization. One of the teams that I manage, WiTech Liberia, it's head by a dude. And he's very open about talking about the situation in this country and why he wants to make it better for women in his country. So firstly, you can come and join the organization. I think it's something that's very common where people feel like, why are there women-led initiatives? And then you have your regular initiatives before. I think what is important to understand is that even right now, women have been, underrepresented in fields. You might not be, like I wasn't, I never felt as though I was underrepresented. And I come from a very privileged, very urban background. But like you said, if I were coming from a very rural background, I would want an organization that was there to help me out because I didn't get what everybody was getting. So we're not saying that women get more opportunities than men. We're saying that historically women have been getting lesser opportunities than men. We're here to make sure that the playing field is even, right? So I feel like when it comes to women who feel like there's this otherization factor, I can only say one of two things. If you don't feel comfortable being a part of this organization or, working for a women-led, women-oriented initiative, okay, great. You've had the privilege of, not needing it. So that's cool. You can be a part of the other organizations. I will support you with whatever you do. But you have to understand that not everybody gets the opportunity. Not everybody, there are a few people who feel the need, who need, organizations like ours, who can help them out and who can give them an equal opportunity and an equal playing field. So if you don't want to associate yourself with the organization, that's a conversation we can have for later. I'm not going to force you to do it. But you have to understand that, again, like I said before, women is a very diverse group. So when we say women in tech, you might not need it, I might not need it, but there are women out there who need it. And if we can bring that to them, we're doing our job right. Until the day where everybody and anybody, irrespective of their gender, okay, you're a man, you're a woman, however you identify, you're non-binary, you have to understand, if you get equal opportunity, if you have resources, then we've done our job right. And we will not stop fighting until we get there. You have the opportunities, great. You want to help somebody else get the opportunities, great. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, definitely. We can't see change unless you have many of these organizations that are pushing for change and really doing the good work out there. And you can't be like, you have to compete at the main stage too. And if you don't have the opportunities, where do you go? It's not like you can sit there and cry about it. And so the work these organizations do and the work that WiTech does is definitely that important and
Cool. I think this conversation is like very engrossing. So it's, but yeah, I think we have crossed 8:15.
Oh no.
Let's actually continue this again, like in another, like maybe a session or some kind of like, I don't know, like how should I define at this point? But surely let's meet together at another opportunity. So we can have like one last conversation. So I wanted to have this game, but I don't think it will be effective now. So right now, this conversation itself, like my definition of the game itself has evolved. So I'll save it for the next slide. So
yeah, I think if there are no questions left, or like you can do the last question now if you have another one. Before I leave, I would love to talk a little bit about WiTech and what we do, in case people who are watching right now or who will be watching later might be interested in, what we're doing.
yeah, sure. I think you should talk about WiTech now.
Amazing. So to everybody who's listening and to you guys as well, WiTech stands for Women in Technology. So we're a startup that's helping women and marginalized and underrepresented communities gain access to tech and learn how to code. So we did start off only focusing on women, as like most of our audience right now are women. But we've also progressed to looking at communities and groups that are socioeconomically disadvantaged and making sure that they get the resources that they do regardless of their gender. So no matter your gender, come tune into our talks, join our organization if you like. So we started by Audrey Pe, who is amazing, and it's initially.
That's how I attended Audrey's talks. That's how I know about WiTech. Yeah.
Yeah, Audrey is such an inspiration. I'm glad you got to listen to her talk. I think every single time she talks, even like in our regular meetings, she's just talking about her day, and I'm like, yeah, tell me more. Keep talking. This is really interesting. So I'm really glad you had an opportunity to listen to her talk. So this WiTech organization initially started off in Philippines, and now we have more than 19 chapters all over the world. So there's a chapter in India, there's a chapter in Vietnam, there's a chapter in Kenya, Liberia, Malaysia, and soon we'll be having chapters, hopefully, all over the world. So I believe WiTech India recruitment forms are open. You can join to be you can join to be a part of our organization. I don't know if that's right English. Don't quiz me, okay? I came for tech, not for an English exam. So let me know. You can always message me at Nevermind Natasha, or you can reach out to Sakshi or the WiTech India page. You can be a part of our organization and contribute in whatever way you want to. We don't require a tech background. You don't need to learn how to code unless you want to. So if you want to be a part of our graphic design team, you want to be a part of our partnerships team, our finance team, our outreach team, please note that our deadline for registrations for India are March 16th, 2021. So if you want to be a part of the organization, I implore you, check out our pages, go over our website, see if this is something that you want to be a part of. I know that it's not everybody's cup of tea, and there are a lot of other organizations out there. But if you like the work that we do conferences, talks, and workshop sessions. If you want to be a part of it, please apply. If you want to start a chapter in IIT Madras, always shoot me an email or just text me at Nevermind Natasha. You can start local, state, or national chapters wherever you are. So if you want to start something for your school, you could start it for WiTech, your school. You want to start it for your university, you can do it. You want to start it for your community and your city, you can do it. And if you're not looking to join any leadership positions or leading organizations, you want to be a part, you want to just like attend our super cool workshops and conferences, or please be sure to follow WiTech.org on Instagram. Look at me plugging in all these things. Yeah, WiTech.org, WiTech India, WiTech Vietnam. We have a lot of WiTechs, okay? So whatever you want to learn about, chances are we're teaching it. So let me know if you'd be interested, and please follow and support WiTech. Well, I think I could be a YouTuber, no, with this amount of subscribe here and like here. Click the bell.
That definitely sounds really good. And speaking on behalf of the Women's Forum at IIT Madras, we would love to collaborate with the WiTech over outreach events and definitely maybe conduct some workshops together in the high school students and things. So definitely we will keep in touch. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me today. I had such a fun time. I came in expecting I would be like interrogated with questions, although I probably shouldn't have, because I've just noticed that conversations with women and, in general, I love conversations. Thank you for being such good hosts, dealing with the technical issues, and I hope I can be back. And I loved my time here. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Natasha, I think this is our sixth Instagram live. But this is the first time I'm talking to a person whom I haven't met or whom I don't know before. But I can't believe how like casual this has been. Like it has been like we are almost friends. So there has been like no issues in like sharing ideas. So I'm very happy to have you here today and hope this journey continues. Yeah. So once again, happy Women's Day and see you soon again in another opportunity. Bye.
Done. Bye-bye.
Happy Women's Day and thank you so much.
Happy Women's Day.
See you.
Let me see if I can log off this live. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I think
This...
I think it will be closed. The call.
Yes.
Good evening, all. So, welcome you to Women's Day special Instagram session. Yeah, Annoy is back. I think, can you remove your headset?
Mine? Okay, is this any better?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Cool. We will wait for the guests to join. I have sent them the link. Hope they'll join now. Cool. Yeah, so how are Women's Day celebrations going on? Like, you have other events from Black to right? So,
Yeah, we're quite excited to host Professor Rohini Godbole. Very excited to hear her talk. Personally, I'm also interested in her work, so sounds
sure.
quite exciting. And later tonight, we have another event. Well, not quite from the Women's Forum, but adjacent to that, that's being conducted by the IITM Alumni Association. There are some new initiatives being launched by Professor Laiji Philip. So that's quite exciting. What about you?
Yeah, for Women's Day, this is the only event we planned, and yeah, pretty much that's it. So during Research Scholars Day, we might do a women-only event or something, but yeah, we'll announce that when we officially release the theme and stuff.
Has the background gone?
Yeah, sometimes it comes, but not like when we used the headset. It's much better now.
Okay, cool.
They have not yet joined.
Yeah, maybe you could text them.
Yeah, I did text them. Cool. Okay. Okay, let me check. Yeah, I'm just texting them.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us once again. We're just waiting for our speakers to join in, so hold on for a few minutes.
Yeah, so Natasha will join. She has given the request.
Hi.
Hi everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, super cool. Yeah,
Sorry.
so where is June?
Oh, she should be coming. If I'm not mistaken, she's here.
Okay, cool. Cool then. Yeah. Yeah, firstly, thank you for coming on short notice, like in place of Shakshi. So, yeah. So, we literally don't know anything about you. We know only something about Shakshi, so I think you should introduce yourself.
I like that I'm coming in with a very mysterious element. You know, nothing about cool.
The surprise X factor.
I tend to bring that everywhere. It's for the drama. So I'm Natasha. I am from Hyderabad, India. We're very close. I should come to Madras sometime soon. I am on a gap year, so I finished high school last year, and I'm taking a gap before I start college because of COVID. I am the chapter coordinator for Non-Philippine Asia and Africa for WiTech, which is Women in Technology. And my position means I oversee and work with 6 teams right now, and we're growing, so keep an eye out. So 6 teams from different countries. Again, and apart, when I'm not fangirling over WiTech,
Okay, the noise is back. Please avoid your headphones.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just finding it difficult to hear you, Natasha.
you can speak up because I can be very loud.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just speak louder if that can help with the situation.
Yeah, sure. A little more louder should be okay.
All right. Or I'll come really close to the camera and you'll have to like look at my pimples and my close range.
Totally fine.
So no, I was just saying that I am the chapter coordinator at WiTech, and I oversee and work with chapters in 6 different countries in Asia and Africa. I love the work that I do. I love working with June. She'll be here soon. I'm surprised she's not here. And when I'm not fangirling over WiTech all the time, I like to debate a lot, which should be clear because I don't really know when to stop talking. I read a lot, I write a lot, and I'm here, so I like code, I like computer science and technology, even though I have no idea how Instagram works. And yeah, that feels like a pretty good introduction. You'll get to know me more throughout the session, I hope.
That's interesting. So, yeah, myself, I'm Vamika, so I'm a PhD scholar, and Sankalpa is an undergraduate. So, we are hosting this for Women's Day specially. And yeah, so first of all, happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day, everybody.
Cool. Yeah, so maybe we will start with some of the questions before June joins. So, yeah, Sankalpa should shoot up.
Okay. So let's get the ball rolling with something that you already said that you're passionate about, coding and technology. You can hear me, right?
I'm having a hard time listening, and also I'm being told that it's not very clear what I'm saying. Let me try to switch to earphones. Maybe that might help.
Okay.
I had like a complete desk setup because I don't actually have a desk. So I put like books on books, and now I'm just going to hold it in my hand and it's going to shake. That's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you're super clear now. You can hear us, right? Okay, glad we have all of that tech away now, and we can get to the real tech part of this discussion. So it's really cool that you just graduated from high school and you're already so passionate about coding and technology. So what really got you into it? Like, was there a specific event? Was there like a story, or was it just something you always knew?
I want to say it's something that I always knew because that makes me feel like I'm a woman of purpose. But that's not true. I started coding from a very young age when I was in grade 6. I started at school, I continued at home. I did your regular Java syllabus in class 9 and 10. And I stopped coding in class 11 and 12 because I find this very surprising when people from other countries tell me that women are not encouraged to take computer science. Because here I felt that I'm only encouraged to take computer science. It's like the only route you take. So what I kept telling myself is everybody's doing that, so I shouldn't do it. I should do something different. I should do something unique. And while I did love to code, I told myself that I'll find something else to like. But I think midway grade 12, I started getting back into coding again. I was like, this is fun. I started with MIT's free software online. I started coding from there. I think a lot of it took off in the gap year because I had nothing to do. And I thought to myself, it's been such a long time since I did any amount of computer science. So I'll start again. I started teaching myself bits of Java. I went back to coding. I pushed myself to attend a lot of hackathons. So it became a very gradual process of, oh, I remember why I liked doing this, back in grade 9 and 10. So I thought that was very important for me. And it was also very important for me to understand that I didn't only have to take computer science. I told myself, Natasha, if you get into computer science, that's like your future. That's it, nothing else. But computer science is such an inherently interdisciplinary field. You can combine it with any subject. You can combine it with biology. You can combine it with design, which is what I plan to do. And you can use it to open up more avenues, doors, and opportunities for other people. So I think in the quarantine is when it hit me, you can continue to do this because you like to do it.
a lot of sense. And that's very interesting to hear because I never knew how to code back in school. I think we had like a couple of computer science classes and we did some HTML and stuff, but I only started coding in college. And when I coded in college, I'm from a biology. It was all with the notion of applications in biology. So, while I consider myself a coder and I'm into it, it's always from an application point of view. I'm not like into the theory so much. Where can I apply this and how can I use this and what will I have? I think that makes a lot of sense to have a so tangentially to that, when do you think we should motivate students to get into coding? I find it a little problematic that, with white hat juniors and all that, everybody's like, you should start coding from third grade, you should start coding and then you should start. I should also go hand in hand and like, you should be a superstar before you get into college.
Oh, I think ideally you should get into coding when you get into coding. I feel like it should happen as any other hobby would. How you get into painting, how you get into reading. It should be something natural that you just, you're introduced to. You can be introduced to in a young age. I don't think ideally you should be taught from a very young age that coding is life and this is what you do for the rest of your life. It should just be, I don't see why it can't be an extracurricular activity that students can just try. They can start doing it in grade 4, grade 5, or whenever they have the interest. I think that's the beauty of coding is that it's not a subject, right? Computer science is the subject. Coding is a tool that you use to, get your work done. So you don't even have to be into computer science to do coding. It's just something that you use to get your job done. And you can do that whenever you want. I feel like I've heard a lot of stories where people get into coding in college. While I love your story where you just got into it because of its applications, I think I've heard a lot of people say, I wish I started this before. I wish I did something about this before. I think, see, it's a natural process. If you come across, I feel like everybody should be given the resources to, learn coding, but it's up to them when they want to start. Like I started in grade 6, then I started in grade 9, and then I started in grade 12. So I started 3 times. And I think now it's finally stuck with me. I don't think in grade 6 I went, this is what I want to do with my life. Now I'm going, oh, this is something I can use in my life. So I think ideally give kids the resources. Don't push them to do anything. Let them do it if they want to do it. And if they really like it, they'll come back to it.
That's a very interesting notion. And I feel like something that gives a lot of people anxiety is if they don't know how to code. And they get to a certain point and it seems like everyone can do it. Like everybody is using it. And you're like, oh, am I being left behind? Like I really need this tool. I don't know if I want it, but I feel like I need it. Any thoughts to add on?
I think don't have the pressure that life will not go on without coding. And I think a huge factor in that is that people think coding is like very big and very complex. And you need to be like a smart person wearing glasses. Okay, you can sit and code for hours together. From my experience, my limited experience in coding through hackathons, all I've understood is coding is logic and it's ideation. You have an idea, you want to see what is the logical flow of you solving that problem. I don't think you should have an existential crisis just because you don't know how to code. I think you have to understand that it's very easy in this, very technology driven world to feel like if you don't have anything to do with it, you're losing out. But that's not the case at all. Pick it up as a hobby. Don't pick it up as a life skill. It's something that you should get to do for fun and because you like doing it.
Cool. So when I started coding, I really didn't know that I did start coding because I think that there are many misconceptions about coding, right? So there are different things we do which are also related to coding, but we don't realize that we are actually doing it. So yeah, I think it's just a process of self-realization, how we understand things. Yeah, so I I wanted to do this with June, but yeah, I think I should
I,
start doing this because I don't think she has joined the level. So
if I'm not
I'll
mistaken, there might be a time difference issue. Maybe, yeah, she misunderstood.
yeah, it
Hmm.
could be. It's okay. Let's figure it out later after this session.
The show must go on.
So I wanted to do with this thing called Never Have I Ever. So I'll do with Sankalpa and you. Yeah. So the first thing is one male thing you never did. Like something which is labeled so male, and you never got the chance to do it.
I don't want to upset people, but I've never stopped a woman when she was talking and explained what she was saying in my language. I'd be like, no, no, no. You're talking, you talk. I'll come later. So I think that's something I've noticed people do a lot. The boys that I've spoken to, the men that I've had conversations with. That's something I haven't done.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, related to that, I feel like if there are like a group of guys talking, then I'm less inclined to interrupt and say what I want to say. I just feel like, yeah, I have these thoughts. I'm not gonna like interrupt. It's fine. Like I'll just keep it to myself. But I
Oh,
think stereotypically male things, you know, I climb walls, I climb trees, certain things. So in that way, I was a little interesting.
Yeah. What I wanted to do is it's like my wish. Like I want to ride a bullet bike on a highway and go on a long ride, but it happened for me. So, but I'll still try. I'm not too worried. Keep trying. The next
that
thing is yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but that is a very good point. I've also always wanted to do that. Leather jacket, bike, highway. We
Yeah.
should plan a road trip together. Just saying.
Should I just
Done this. Well, I haven't been riding the bike, but I've been on like doubles with like one of those super fancy fast bikes.
Nice.
Yeah, the second one is never have I allowed someone to challenge me. Like you always say that I'm strong, I can do this. I don't want anyone to challenge me in this.
I have. I think usually it's very silly things with my friends, but I have often asked a lot of people to challenge me.
Okay.
So I have a little off tangent story to share here. So when I was in school, you know, there were a bunch of us in the 9th grade, and you know, there were school elections up, and we were like, there's so much emphasis on sports for boys in our school. Like, where are the coaches for like have a female football team? Like, why don't we have? And you know, it was just that nobody had asked the question. And once we started asking the question, we actually got things changed. And in a few years, like 2 years after that, we actually had a women's football team. And I'm really proud to share that there was this one junior, you know, she was around 11 at that time. And, you know, she was experimenting, and now she's a super amazing football player. And, like, she goes to teams and stuff. And I feel like if you start challenging things at some point, it may not work out for you, but it will definitely benefit the people who come after you.
I definitely agree with that. And it's such a cool story to listen to because I feel like half of the time you just have to ask the question. Instead of being like, why doesn't this exist? And why doesn't that exist? Just ask, hey, do you want to make it happen? And what is the worst thing they can say? No. You move on. You'll find something else. You'll find another way to do it. I think that was very cool. I respect you very much right now. I'm also a little jealous because I can't play basketball to save my life or football or any sport.
Cool. I don't.
I just try my hand at things, you know.
Cool. My last question is you're familiar with this Hermione's dialogue, right? Like she says never better.
Mm-mm.
like what is one moment in your life that you feel as a girl that life can never be better than this? As a girl, specifically with respect to professional achievement.
This is going to make me think.
I feel like something that women who get into like professions, something that's like very specific to them that bothers me a lot is that people think, people often question and contextualize their achievements as being from a diversity point of view. Like if you're a woman and you do like well in college, and if you get like a good placement, that the people around you will be like, oh, she got that job only because she's a woman. Companies now want women. More research labs are looking to balance their, gender diversity and get more women. And aside from other people saying it, I think something that hits you at some point is, oh, like, did I get selected based on quote unquote it? Or, am I somehow being given a leg up, and is it somehow unfair? And this is something that I think about often. And at some level, it gives me a little society, but I think it's very important to think about these two concepts of diversity versus what it actually means, and how these things are instilled forward.
I think that's a very important conversation to have, because I feel like every single time you're from any underrepresented, any minority group, any achievement that you have is automatically tied to your identity and not your merit or your skill or your brilliance. That is a very important conversation to have, and I would love to get back to that. I think that's very important. But an experience where I felt like, okay, never better. I've done it, and I'm at a place in my life where I'm confident with my abilities in a professional sense, would probably be one of the hackathons that I attended fairly recently. And we didn't win, spoiler alert, but it was hosted by one of these big universities in the US. And I had to go and find teammates who were a part of that university. And I think I had this crippling doubt of, I'm not good enough to participate because I'm not in that fancy university, or I'm not in a fancy university at all. So am I still worthy of, meeting these people and working with them? So I think, to me, it was when we finally sat down and we finished our app, we did the recording, we sent our pitch video for 3 minutes. I was on the Zoom call and I was like, this is the best feeling in my life. And it was 3 a.m. in the morning. My grandmother came in and she's like, what are you doing? But I just felt like I can do it. Like, I can code and I can talk to people and I can give valuable feedback and advice. And I can make things happen. So I think once I realized that I can create, I was like, this is the best point in my life. Also, real quick, June messaged and she was asking how she could join the live. Is it possible to send her a request?
Yeah, she can give a request to join. Once she joins the live, she'll get an option to give a request to join. So then I'll be able to accept it.
Amazing. I'll let her know. I think, like I said, there's probably the time difference that messed things up.
Okay, then I'll save the next game until if she comes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play all 4 of us together.
Awesome.
Maybe we should continue the conversation about diversity and merit, and how you think we can tackle this situation, and how you think WiTech as a platform can address some of these systemic issues.
I think when it comes to the idea of diversity versus merit, I think nowadays we're seeing a lot of companies incorporating this diversity, like D&I, diversity and inclusion teams, and trying to make sure that there are more women and people of color. If you're talking with respect to countries like the US and Europe, okay, make sure more queer people are a part of the discussion. I think it's important to keep that effort going while being critical of the movement in terms of the idea that you always take women and take underrepresented communities to be a part of your workforce, but you don't give them executive positions, you don't give them leadership positions, even though they're deserving of it. So what good will it do if they're not making decisions and if they're just taking decisions the entire time? And I believe we can, the thing about people not liking diversity, not liking these programs and saying that we get in because of our identity and not our merit, I think it's just a very deep rooted social idea that we have to just be very honest with ourselves. It'll take us a while to get to a point where people are like, people will see us for more than, this one label that has been stuck to us. I think for that, we have to make sure that we educate people, we educate ourselves about different issues and the lived experiences of people who you're not a part of, the communities that you're not a part of. Okay? So ideally, if I was talking to one of my classmates who happens to be a man, I'd probably say, and he had an issue with me getting into a job, and he thinks I got in because I'm a woman and not because of my merit. If I could take the time out, if I had the patience, and if I had just the energy to explain to him, and he had the interest to go and research, I feel like it just becomes very natural to understand and empathize with groups that you're not a part of. I personally believe it'll come down to education and teaching people from schools to organizational levels that this is a problem that exists. You can mock, you can say what you want, but that's not the actual truth. Those are not the lived experiences that women face on a daily basis.
Good. I just remember one incident happened to me like in the recent 2 or 3 days. So I was writing some emails inviting people for a lecture or something. So when I wrote to a law firm, I've clearly mentioned my name, like regards Swamika and all this, but still when I got the reply, it was like, dear sirs. I was like, they're not the email, they just assume that it's just going to be a mail. So things like this happen, right? So, but we cannot fight every single battle when we lead our life, and it's important to choose the right which we need to actually fight for. So we can really educate people, but not on like everyday basis or something. And we need to find something which will be very effective, and it will just like be like a nail or something, like a stamp that women are powerful.
I think that's the. Sorry, go ahead. Then you can go ahead.
No, I was saying, related to this is the fact that, if it's always only like the minority, like if it's only women talking about women's rights, and the LGBT community talking about their rights, it's always just one community talking about their identity. We're never going to get anywhere because, it's always like, oh, we're putting it out there that, we need to be heard, we need to be seen, we need to be heard. When what we really need is for everyone to feel the same. Like we need to bring everybody into the conversation, really, what allies and like identity, and really just people being sensitive to the issue and these issues as a whole. And I don't know how we're going to get there.
I think that's a very good point, because so often it's always us talking about us, right? And it doesn't have, the onus of explanation and understanding shouldn't be on us, because we're already going through, all of this. And when people come up and they say they're allies, okay, and they support the movement, and I was like, okay, show it. Show your support. Don't walk around saying, oh, I support gender equality. What are you doing in your daily day-to-day life? I'm not asking you to protest with me. I'm just saying, what are you doing in your everyday experiences that's changing it? And I think what's very important is when we talk about anecdotes like this, the dear sirs, to me, I'm like, oh, they should have been better. They should have done better. But usually people are very quick to dismiss it. They're like, oh, it must be a typo. Oh, it's just dear sirs. And I feel like whenever we talk about gender equality, especially in 2021, in like this century, people always come to say, you have the right to vote, you are not married off as a child. What more do you want? And it's like we should be happy that these big things aren't happening, but we are not allowed to get angry at the small things, the microaggressions that are going on every single day. Exactly. So I feel like to you it's okay, to me it's not. So just change it. If you can say, what's the big deal if I write dear sirs? What's the big deal if you write dear ma'am and take 2 seconds out to understand who you're writing an email to? It's not a big thing that we're asking for.
Cool. And one more thing is on daily basis is actually I ride an electric cycle on the road. So I commute to campus through electric cycle. So the thing is, the first thing is electric cycle, right? So they don't see people moving at such high speed on the road. That is one thing. Second thing, I often get this comment like, being a girl, why are you riding so fast? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, right? So, but yeah, some days I give a reply, but some days I'm just, okay, I'm not ready for this.
I think June is here and she's trying to join. Okay. I can see her trying to join. I can't believe I'm somebody. You can't see her?
No, I'm not able to see anything in the chat. Okay. Let me first type something. Can anyone see my chat?
Yeah. Oh, I see June.
Yeah, now I see her reply, but I cannot see her request to join.
June, can you request to join? I was just saying, I find it very funny that I am supposed to be here talking about computer science and technology, and I don't know how Instagram works. I'm like, what does this button do? Oh, it closes the live. I shouldn't click that.
This was me a few weeks back with my first Instagram live. I was like, why are there so many features?
I just want to call and talk. Don't give me filters. Don't give me more options. I'm confused.
Cool. Do you girls want to restart this?
I mean, on that note,
I don't
know that we are once again women who are talking about women.
No, I think anything would work. If you guys want to redo the questions or you want to move on.
Yeah, you want to move on?
No, I'm okay with anything.
Yeah, maybe we can just give one try if she's able to join. Else we'll just continue with the three of us. I'll just restart this conversation.